What's up, guys, gals, and every human being on earth? We're doing things a little bit different today. And, it happens exactly when we're going to talk about disappointments and how we can redefine those disappointments to be the greatest moments and blessings of our lives. Not everything is going to happen the way that we think it should, but it really doesn't matter what happens or even so much as how it happens. What really, really matters the most is how we define what happens. And in today's video, what we're going to talk about is really how to begin to redefine disappointments, as moments to identify that old limiting story that we tell ourselves and to be able to learn how to go with the flow, so to speak, like we're doing today. I'm sitting in front of my computer, but it ain't working. It has told me no. So now we have a tablet stacked up on books. Man, improvise. And you know what I know about today and all this that is happening? Is that this is going to be the most amazing, soul nourishing, winning Wednesday ever. So, if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Invite all your friends. We're going to talk about disappointments and how to redefine them as the greatest moments of your life today. Also, we're going to make that big winter recovery crawl announcement. Yay, it's today. So, if y'all are ready, I'm ready. Let's go. What's up, my beautiful soul warriors? It's me, LC, and I'm so grateful and honored as always to be right here with you. Good morning, Bonnie Max, Livy Jameson, Tim Cups, Mary Huffman, Haley Brown. So good to see you, Alicia Lee, so super soul sis in the house. Whew, man, we are coming up to the end of a defining year in our lives. Every one of our lives, man, 2020 is going to be one of those years that we never, ever, ever forget. And it's really going to be how we define what we've been through this year that really is going to set the stage on how we move into 2021. I mean, we can stare intensely at all the disappointments of this year. We can stare intensely at all of the trials and tribulations of this year. And we can carry that stuff on our backs as weights, as, whatever we want to through this year, because it's not like January 1st starts and everything just switches and changes. It's like most transitions, they happen gradually. They happen slowly. And we are so much more in control than we really realize or than we want to actually accept. Because to be in control of things like our attitudes, our moods, our choices. It's great to feel like we have control to do that stuff, but also it also creates responsibility. It creates accountability. It means that if I'm in charge of my mood and I let someone or something else disturb it, I don't get to blame that thing or that person. That's accountability. And I want to tell you, accountability has probably been one of the main aspects of my recovery, because without accountability, we really, you know, limitations are limitations, and labels we know limit. A lot of rules we know limit. I'm reading The Code of the Extraordinary Mind right now, and they call it rules, which are bullshit rules that we adopt from our families, our society, and things we don't even often know are at play in our lives. They're things that we have accepted hook, line, and sinker, and they just integrate themselves into our lives. But it's when we really come into a place of awareness and get really serious about healing, in our recovery, that we can throw off the perceived limitations of those subconscious things that we really didn't know were happening before, but that we can embrace an accountability that does give us some set parameters. In each part of our recovery, especially new recovery, we need those set parameters. We're trying to learn how to navigate life in a healthy manner on our own, and it's almost like, in a way, needing training wheels. I needed training wheels. I needed a program that was going to help me remain in certain, confines of what is expected, what is going to help me be a better me. I needed that, right? I don't so much at this point, but that's what growth is. Growth is moving past the things you needed in the beginning, and adopting and reaching out for new resources that you need now. Because I am not at a place where I don't need resources. It's just that they are different now. I'm in a different form and place of healing. And it brings me to some of those old rules, if you will, that we have adopted in the past that really can haunt us and cause us big hiccups in our today. One of the things that is very detrimental in new recovery is to believe that the substance is the only problem. And also to believe that just because we get clean and sober means that life gets easier. See, those are the things that trip us up. They cause a lot of disappointments in our early days of recovery because we've got this picture of sobriety and recovery that is not real. It's not real. And we think when we start meeting those disappointments and meeting those hard times that what we're doing isn't working, when in fact the opposite is true. When you're really, really changing, when you're really, really growing, is when everything inside of you is completely uncomfortable. In fact, if it's not uncomfortable, you might want to reevaluate your growth process. See, we get uncomfortable when things get uncomfortable because we don't really associate that with growth. We associate that with, Houston, we've got a problem. And the problem is that those old limitations of that old story that we have been subconsciously telling ourselves for years and years and years is being challenged. And as it becomes challenged, it fights back for its place in your life. And it all comes back around to how we define things in our life, happenings, people, moments, disappointments, for real. So I won't even really say suffered because I know how to redefine it, but I met a disappointment yesterday. And that's the reason that I'm doing this Winning Wednesday today. It was a huge disappointment for me. And I won't deny that it hurt, that it didn't feel great. But what I will tell you is that it gave me this amazing opportunity to watch my old story try to pop up. So as I was supposed to have this meeting with someone I was really excited about meeting, right? And I was sitting there waiting for this meeting to happen. And I had quieted my whole family. My wife and dog were sitting outside in the cold. I didn't put them outside, so y'all don't send me no ugly messages. They just, my wife was doing her coffee or meditation. She wrapped the little dog up, so they're outside. It was a beautiful day. But either way, like, they really made space for me to have this meeting and let it be as smooth as it could be. And the meeting didn't happen. And in that moment, when I was feeling that disappointment, I started getting to see and become aware of all those old stories that started to pop up, right? You're not important enough. This person's not going to meet. Are you kidding me? Like, they must have had a lapse of judgment to think that you were important enough to meet with Elsie. I mean, all these things. And I got to make a choice in the midst of that disappointment of whether I let myself drop into that old story and drudge throughout the day going, see, I'm just not that important. And how is this ever going to go where my dreams say it will? And, all of that stuff. Or I chose to take the moment to say, ooh, I see you, old story. And that means that you're still trying to get your airtime in my life. When really the reality is, this person could have had an emergency that came up. This person, there's any number of things that could happen. But see, we like to default into, there's something wrong with me. And when we know when we're growing, when we are able to become aware of that in the moment and define it as something else. And sure enough, it turned out that there was, an issue with, with her kids, and she had to go pick up her children, and, and it happens. It's human. I believe it was divinely designed to happen. Because if we don't ever stare those things in the face, how will we actually grow from them? It's what's happening all the time when we try to do things different in our life, when we try to diet or we try to exercise. The first of the year comes with a lot of moments for us to, exactly, Mary Huffman, self-sabotage. We get so excited about the first of the year. Have you ever asked yourself why? Where did that come from? Who decided? And we got to start asking different questions. So we get ourselves all pumped up. Yeah, buddy, I'm going to get skinny this year. I'm going to get, I'm going to get healthy this year. I'm going to get in recovery this year. I'm going to do all this stuff this year. And we blow out the gate first week of January. Gym memberships skyrocket. Supplement companies, this is when they make their money. And then into January, February comes, March comes, and guess what we're doing? We're sitting in the same spot, giving ourselves pure hell for the disappointments that we are. When really, we're not disappointments. We followed along with a society's rule that means it takes this one day a year to redefine your whole life. And if you don't do it, something's wrong with you. When reality is, we just need to set some realistic strategies. Some of the things that we have to grow through in the recovery community is that instant gratification. We want things, we want them now, right? And we often get disappointed when we put in effort and things don't magically shift like we believe they should. And that always produces some type of disappointment. Now, in the story that I just gave you about my disappointment from yesterday, never did you hear me say that I got happy, that I felt like skipping through daisies, that my realization of that old story somehow took away that it didn't feel too good, you know? Is it the worst thing I've ever experienced? No. And will it make for a better meeting next time? Absolutely. But it was still disappointing. And I don't mind at this point in my life and my recovery and my healing journey being willing to feel those things. Because in every moment that we try to deny something that feels bad, we are denying a message that is trying to move through us. We are denying ourselves a moment to embrace healing and learning. And all that's really happening is whether we escape through alcohol, substance, or Netflix, right? Doesn't matter where we escape. When we make that escape, that feeling doesn't go anywhere. In fact, it just stacks up on us. It stacks up on us until all of a sudden our bodies break down. We have some big blow up with our family or friends and we don't know why. All of a sudden they made some snide comment and they get every bit of our escaped emotions for all of the year. And now we're trying to sift through different disappointments when really it's okay to feel. In fact, the healing comes in the feeling. And now, we don't just feel for no reason. We don't just feel to walk through, and be depressed or be anxious. We feel in line with the message that is coming through that. We know, regardless of the name that you give your higher power, that the majority of the way that that higher power communicates with us is through emotions. Emotions are what actually separate us from any other creation on earth, is that we have the ability to experience emotions and we have logical thought on the other side. And in every disappointment, we are presented with a choice of how to define it and ourselves. Each and every one of us are living in these invisible identities that we have checked through time. I call it the revolution of the others. Many of us, our lives start out by checking one of two boxes. Is this baby male or female? And from that, whatever box is checked there is how people begin to start defining you. And then we start defining ourselves. We come into school, and guess what? There's more boxes. Is this person average, above average, below average, gifted? And these things start shaping a human being. They start shaping a personality. And you guys know how I feel about addiction. I feel like, many times we use in substance because we're trying to numb out the pain of not quite fitting in those boxes that have been checked for us. Never, ever do we question the boxes, but we always end up questioning ourselves. What is wrong with me that I don't fit in that box? And it becomes this wall of shame, this wall of guilt. I'm not as good as this person. They're better than me. Now we're in the age of social media, and I want to tell you, it makes this problem even bigger because we are seeing each person's designed life portrait that they put out to the world. And it's rarely ever them at their best all the time. And so we have to really move into who we are as individuals, what our beautiful purposes here on earth are. And many times I can tell you that your purpose is to be you. If we were all meant to be the same and all be meant to fit in those categories, how in the world would we recognize divinity? How in the world would we have cultures and so much spice to our lives if we were all supposed to only fit in two categories? This is when we're moving into the time where we begin to celebrate the individual, not celebrate the right groups or the right speech, the right dress, the right body, the right whatever. What's right is what's right for you, and celebrate that. You see, in this Winning Wednesday today, what I want to get across most is that the choice is always yours of how you move forward in any given situation. If it's a disappointment, let that be a moment where you can hear that old story speak to you. Sometimes it speaks subtly every single day and we don't notice it, but it's when we have big things that happen, big disappointments, that we can hear that voice loud and clear and we can say, aha, I got you. I got you, old limiting story. We have to learn how to become our best friends. We have to learn how to take care of ourselves the way we would take care of a loved one. Because if your child walked in and experienced a disappointment in that day, what would you do? You would wrap that child up and you would say, how can we look at this different? There's nothing wrong with you. You are wonderfully, perfectly made. So we've got to remember to do that with ourselves. We have the freedom of choice in every moment of our lives. So, how will you define the disappointments that happen in your life today? How will you define the beautiful, miraculous moments that happen in your day? Will you know that you are deserving? Will you know that you are worthy to receive those things? Or will you let that old story pop up and say, oh no, I'm nothing special. I'm nothing special. Don't make a fuss over me. Make a fuss over you. Make a fuss over you. Acknowledge those old stories. Let them come to light. Feel those feelings because that's your divine gift. You have the opportunity to feel. And don't squander it with escape. You're worth so much more than that. Whew. I love you guys so, so much. And I'm so excited about today because today at 12 noon Central Standard Time, we kick off the Recovery Winter Crawl. It is today. And I know that you guys already know that and you're super excited for it. I'm super excited for it. I want to see all of you guys come on and see your pal LC. I go on at 3:40 Central Time, which for me is 4:40. Y'all want me to tell you an embarrassing little joke about yesterday's disappointment? So the meeting was supposed to start at 11:30, right? So again, I show up at 11:30. I got my big goofy earphones on. I'm ready, only to realize that it was 11:30 Central Time. And so it would have been 12:30 for me. So I'm an hour early, looking like a goofball. And then I had to say, "Oh, my bad." Crazy, right? Crazy. I could be embarrassed or I can laugh about it. I can take myself seriously and beat myself up, or I can take myself light and just be who I am. And that's what I choose. So I want to see all of you at 3:40 Central and 4:40 Eastern time right here. Well, actually, we're going to be on the Recovery Crawl group page. So if you're not already a member of the Recovery Crawl group, please head over there right now so you don't miss a moment of today's crawl. It's going to be 12 straight hours of recovery resource, recovery warriors telling you about their groups, telling you about what they do in the world, talking to you about recovery, offering you love, light, hope. I mean, it's just an amazing, amazing atmosphere. I'm always so honored to be a part of it. I love Bradley Bagwell. I love the Recovery Crawl admins. I mean, they are just a badass team, and putting all this together is no easy feat. So as you guys are sitting there enjoying everything today, please just send all your energy to Bradley, to the Recovery Crawl team, to each one of the people that come and show up there. You know, it's not easy to put yourself out like this and be live in front of everyone, because let's just frankly, it's just not, it's very vulnerable to do that. So as people are on, please just send them all of your amazing love, light, energy. I know I'm super excited about today. I always love seeing you guys come and show up and be a part of it too. So head over to the Recovery Crawl group page. Make sure you join the group and turn on notifications for when they go live. That's where we're going to be going live from. It's probably not going to be like this. It's going to be old school phone, LC, background, and just recovery, nourishment for your soul. I'm super excited. I will see all of you then. And the last but not least, thank you all. We finally have our branded YouTube channel name, and that's because of all of you. We finally got we hit our subscriber goal to get that. We finally got it. I thank all of you. If you're not already a subscriber of the Recovery Soul Food YouTube channel, please go over there and like and subscribe that channel. Share it with your friends. Turn on your bell notifications so YouTube knows that you like us, want to see more, and you know when each one of our videos go live. I love you guys, and I'll see y'all this afternoon. So have an amazing, amazing day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.